Hey guys, happy Saturday, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about how you can make your UC application stand out. There are hundreds of thousands of applicants every year and you are one person with a goal, and that is to get into the university of your dreams, and probably more than one university ideally. The tips that I'm going to offer today are things that I did on my application that I believe contributed to my success in the application process and being accepted to all of the UCs that I applied to. So without further ado, here it goes. In the past few weeks, since we are approaching the UC application submission deadline, I've been getting one question repeatedly over and over again, and that is, what do you think made your application stand out so much? Or how can I stand out on my application? And I just want to give you a quick reminder before I dive into that. Remember that the application is holistic, the review process is holistic, and the application is comprehensive. So there are many different facets of your life that they're looking into as they read your application. So I don't believe there's any one single thing that it comes down to that they're like, okay, this is a student that I want, unless it's a situation where you're like in a really competitive major and they have to make a decision between you and another student. But I think just generally speaking, there is no cookie cutter way to be accepted into the UC system. But that being said, the one thing that I always think really helped me on my application is my responses to the personal insight questions. And I've said this before, I will continue to stress this probably until the day I die, but these, aside from your grades, are probably going to be the single most important factor on your application because they give context to your application. They let the school know who you are in your own words. So without the personal insight questions, you're literally just a name with some grades among hundreds of thousands of names with grades. So it's really important that you guys put in work on your essays to show who you are, what you've experienced in life, what challenges you've gone through, how that has impacted you at the end of the day, and how it's prepared you to be a student at the University of California. This is where you have an opportunity to explain yourself. Pick the prompts that you will best be able to answer, that you will answer honestly, and that will help the university understand who you are as a person and why you are that way. And just as a side note, it does not matter which prompts you pick, they are all created equally. One prompt is not better than the other prompt. There's a reason that these are the prompts that are available to you, so just pick the one that you feel the most comfortable answering. Personally, there were some prompts that I was like, I don't like that question at all, I'm not even going there. And that's fine, it's up to you guys, it's your choice. So just make sure that you're doing what fits your experience. The next point kind of goes hand in hand with the personal insight questions. So in addition to the personal insight questions, there is a section of the application called the additional comments section. And a lot of people are confused about what to put in this section. So it's exactly what it sounds like. The additional comments section are meant for things that you have not already talked about in your personal insight question that you think are important to mention in your application. So if you haven't already touched on like any extenuating circumstances, any challenges that you face throughout community college, financial situations, health issues, things like that, any jobs that you had to take on or any responsibilities that you had, you definitely want to mention them in the additional comments section. Another thing to mention in your additional comments section, if this applies to you, is that if for whatever reason you weren't able to complete all your major coursework prep, mention that. Just say, you know, my community college did not offer this class. It happens all the time. The universities are completely aware of this and they recognize this, they accept this as long as you explain it and state why you didn't take that class. It's all good. You don't have a ton of space. I believe that you have 250 words, maybe 150. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but this is not supposed to be another essay. You aren't expected to like create some tale about the plights of your life. Just very briefly and very precisely explain, hey, this is what I went through and this is how it impacted me. So like I said, any hardships that you went through, if you were responsible for taking care of another person, if you had W's on your transcripts or bad grades, this is where you want to explain them. Don't avoid them. Make sure you explain them here and address why you earned that bad grade or why you had to withdraw from that class. And I'm gonna give you guys an example of what I wrote on my application just so you know what the kind of expectation is for the section. I withdrew from Math 1, 2, and Chemistry 1A in my first year at West Valley College. At this time, I also received a C in Econ 1A and 2A. This is because I was working full-time and I was commuting to school while I was enrolled in these classes. I chose to withdraw so as not to subject myself to such a strenuous workload. During this year, I was still getting acclimated to college and learning how to balance work and school. Since then, my grades have been on an upward trend. Okay, so I did several things in that section. One, I acknowledged that there were bad grades and W's on my transcript. Two, I explained via a reasonable explanation why I earned those bad grades and why I withdrew from those classes. So when I say reasonable explanation, I am pinning the responsibility on myself. I'm not putting it on someone or something else. You know, I think a classic example of this is don't blame the teacher for the bad grade that you got. Make sure that you are accepting the responsibility for the bad grade that you got. I mean, you are an adult, so it's time to step up to the plate. So I acknowledged the bad grades / W's, I explained the bad grades / W's, and then lastly, I explained what I've done since then to remedy those bad grades. So pretty brief sentence. I just said, since then my grades have been on an upward trend, and it's true. If you look at my transcript, that reflects that statement that I made in my additional comments section. So if you do those few things, I think that will help your application out a lot in explaining any kind of iffy areas that may pop up on there. Those are the two main things that I think can help your application stand out a lot. These are areas that people do shy away from. For the personal insight questions, some people do get kind of scared, they don't know how to answer these questions. My advice to you is, if you're in that position, I know it's getting kind of down to crunch time, we're down to the wire here in terms of when the application has to be submitted, but if you haven't already, get in touch with the counselor or the advisor at the school that you want to go to and ask if they will review your essay, because they are available to do that if you don't know how to access that contact information. If you go through a counselor at your community college, they will have the name and the contact info of the advisor at whatever UC you want to go to. Also, if you guys have any questions about UC, please, please, please leave them down below. I am so willing to answer them. I've been thinking, since it is November and we are getting closer to the last day to submit your application, I will do like a quick Q&A or FAQ about the UC application. So please just leave the questions that you want answered down below, and I will be happy to address those in a future video, probably next week, if not in the next few upcoming weeks, before the deadline. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. If you enjoyed it or if you benefited from it, please give this video a like and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm constantly posting things about community college, UC, UCLA, because I go there. Transferring, any questions that you have, let me know. If you have any video requests, leave them down below. I will try to accommodate those requests within reason, and I will see you guys next Saturday at 3 p.m. Bye.